Right, it's misty as all fuck where I am, so I don't know if this will actually come out okay on camera. I'm just like in the middle of a fucking street. So, I'm gonna do a fairly quick experience report on 1P LSD, if I can, holy fuck, if I can actually get it out of my brain box. There we go, that's a bit better. See that light, step into the darkness. Oh, other way. anyways, so yeah, ordered recently some 1P LSD due to the fact that basically in the UK they're doing a massive blanket ban on all legal highs, which is unfortunate for some, but probably good for me actually. This is a time where I'm pretty much bored of chemicals, and I kind of just did a few more just I don't know, just to make experience reports on them, for something to do really. But yeah, I got them just before the blanket ban, which is coming into effect pretty soon. Just to yeah, just to kind of compare to actual LSD and see what it was like. Had it twice so far. One a lower dose, which was 100 micros, another a higher dose, which was 400 micros, and yeah, I would say the experience was extremely physical on both the doses, which is pretty crazy saying it was 100 micros. The first time I had it, which was 100 micros, how do I explain it? Like, I tripped really hard actually, which is weird considering it was such a low dose. Comparable to LSD with the ego splitting kind of thing. So the trip I had was like, I kept imagining that I was dying. Then I would imagine that I was being reborn, as it were. And yeah, I was kind of like simultaneously dying and being reborn whilst I was on this trip. There was a hell of a lot of physical like feeling of merging with things, feeling of being everywhere, and a feeling of like experiencing multiple different people, multiple different things at one point simultaneously kind of thing. But yeah, physically there was a split, mentally there was a split. Visually, 100 micros for me, not very much distortion. Definitely comparable to actual LSD in terms of sort of the ego distortion and the type of sort of, I don't know, the physical distortion that I experienced from it, that's for sure. But it just didn't have the visual component at that dose. I found that it wasn't even that, I don't know, spiritually appealing. There was no real massive euphoria to it as such. A little bit of extra energy, but not any proper euphoria. Kind of a feeling of like, yeah, I don't know, quite a lot of time dilation. I did feel like I was stuck in eternity during a hell of a lot of the moments in it. But yeah, no, not really major visual aspect. As I say, similar to LSD in terms of the mental aspect, but I don't know, it just didn't have a very spiritual edge to it. Even though I was having a crazy ego dissolution, it didn't feel very meaningful, the trip. It might have been because of the setting to that trip was sort of reminiscent of well, I was basically just taking it to see what it'd be like. There was no kind of good spiritual intention in there, if that makes sense. Jesus Christ, I try to be realistic with these things, but fuck, you can't see me and the cars are going past. But yeah, fuck it. But yeah, it just had no meaning, the actual trip itself. I mean, crazy ego dissolution, crazy like revelations, crazy like rebirth, death kind of feeling, but just didn't have any actual significance. It was all, I don't know, kind of just conceptual, but not meaningful. And it's not really a concept I've not dealt with before. It just kind of reminded me of a concept in a way, although I did experience that concept as well. So yeah, disappointed at 100 micros, but it was reminiscent to LSD, and I can see why people say that it's like LSD. I just didn't think it was like visually LSD at all. 400 micros was extremely intense ego dissolution, some level of spiritual woo-ha going on there, but it was, I don't know, I was just so disconnected from reality in terms of the ego divide and the ego split that it just didn't really make enough sense to kind of comprehend whether it was spiritual or not. It was just, again, that sort of feeling of rebirth and death just happening, a feeling of like opposites and parallels in the universe constantly playing out, and also being just one thing as its pure thing. So like, I would see both sides of something, or all concepts in existence, such as good and evil, or whatever you want to call it, or hot and cold. I'd also see the middle ground of it to yeah, a really strange level. Now at this level I did start to get really hardcore visuals, but I only think it was because I was on so much. I got a feeling of like things splitting off from themselves, if that makes sense. Like if I saw a crack in a tree, it would be like the tree was shimmering and the cracks was sort of splitting out of the tree, if that would make sense. I also got a feeling of like very slight enhancement of textures, like you would on LSD. Quite a lot of the sort of light spectrum stuff you get on LSD, whereby you see geometrical patterns, closed eyes, and also like the reflective surfaces type thing that you get on LSD, where you look at a reflective surface and it just looks like it's so much lighter than it is. It's just got so much more substance to it. But honestly, it just wasn't that visually intense. Even at that level, it was very visually intense in terms of there were a lot of visuals, but they weren't that hardcore in themselves. How do I explain it? Like, as I was walking, there were visuals to everything, but there's nothing cool. There wasn't like light bending around things and sort of weird patterns appearing in things and strange colours on the floor, like when you take an insanely large dose of LSD. It was just more sort of like things were crumbling and tearing apart visuals. Noticeable, definitely. The closed eye visuals, geometric patterns like that, which was appreciated, but not much in terms of geometric patterns or strange shapes and structures when I had closed eye visuals. So yeah, I don't know. Mentally though, this was definitely quite similar to LSD with the ego loss, and yeah, it had some spiritual element, but I just don't understand what it was. Like, it kind of wasn't meaningful, kind of was. It was so heavy that it just didn't really make enough sense to, I don't know, kind of comprehend. Perhaps it's just that I'm too used to taking chemicals now that are hallucinogenics, and they just don't affect me in the same way that they used to. Maybe my brain's just diversified and got used to it now, I don't know. But yeah, what I would conclude is it was fun, it was strange, but it wasn't very meaningful as a actual chemical. So yeah, it's not something I'd take for a spiritual revolution inside of myself. Maybe for a little spiritual buff and a little like rejig of the brain, just to fuck with your own brain chemistry, see how it pans out. Russian roulette on the head kind of thing, but not really yeah, not really spiritually awakening kind of stuff. And also, when I say it's fun, I don't mean go out nightclubbing on it. Unless you're very experienced with hallucinogenics, definitely don't go out clubbing on fucking hardcore hallucinogens. You'll get fucked up if you don't know how to play with them. That's just kind of the way hallucinogenics run. Was it similar to LSD? A lot of people are saying it is. It was similar. Some people say it's indistinguishable. That's bollocks. I don't think it was LSD in the same way that LSD is. It felt like at the lower dose it could have been LSD. Like, it felt like if you had more it would be like LSD. And it felt like the same as a low dose of LSD kind of thing was the same as a low dose of 1p LSD. But yeah, it just lacked something. It lacked those glowing visuals that I get from LSD, and it lacked all the kind of crazy creature comforts and weird spiritual things from LSD. Had some of the components, but it just wasn't fully there. Apparently it's a prodrug of LSD, I don't know if that's true. I don't know if it's maybe a partial prodrug and of itself it's maybe hallucinogenic in its own right as well. So yeah, maybe that's what's happening with the stuff. Who really knows, to be honest. It's pretty it's all pretty much up for grabs right now. But yeah, I just wasn't that taken aback by it. It wasn't that impressive to me at all. I didn't find it was the kind of thing, it was like LSD completely. Sorry, I'm kind of losing it because of all these cars. But yeah, no, sorry, it was similar to LSD, but I wouldn't have, it wasn't indistinguishable, I don't think. I think that if I were to trip on actual LSD and 1p LSD, 2 weeks in between, I'd notice the difference. But only on the higher doses, only on the higher doses. It's only the visual component it's really missing, and a little bit of like the spiritual component. It's still got the weirdness, it's still got that tang of it, and it's definitely got that physical, you know, that hard physical feeling you get. It's definitely got the hard physical body of it. Anyways, I know you can't see anything, but I do everything in one take, and this is how it is. You gotta like the darkness, or you're gonna die! Or you know, you could just complain to me that you don't want me to fucking film shit out here like this anymore. But yeah, that's pretty much it. In conclusion to the rant, it's fun. Was a pretty good hallucinogenic. The ego dissolution was amazing, but it just wasn't spiritual or meaningful enough, and yeah, it lacked visual qualities that I enjoy from LSD. Anyways, that was my video, and I hope you enjoyed it. Peace out, y'all.